So welcome students. So in the previous class we have just started with the loops, and I told you about the for loop, and also I have told you about the range function and how to use the range function along with the for loop. So what we have learned in the previous class, we will just recollect that. That is the for loop that I showed you. For is a keyword. Then you have to give a variable. I will say I, which is the variable user defined, and then the in operator. Then I have to use the range function, and if I say 5, the argument that I'm passing is 5, so which means that this particular range function is going to generate a series from 0 to 4. Then I will give a colon, and then I will say print I. So what is going to happen over here, that this is going to generate a series from 0 to 4, and I will be initially take the value that is 0. So this is 0 to 4, so 0 will be assigned to I in a way, and then it is going to print I, so that is 0. And since the range function has 5 elements, that is 0 to 4, so this loop is again going to go, the controller again is going to jump up and take the next value of I, and the value of I this time will be 1. And please understand, this is the indentation, so there is a space, there is around 4 spaces, which is a indentation, which means that this is a code block. Code block means this particular code, or there might be few lines of code as well, so that will come inside this for loop, so that will be a code block. So whatever happens, the number of times this loop is going to go, the code block is going to get executed that many times. Okay, and when I say the number of times the loop will go, which means the word that we use is iteration. Okay, the word is iteration. So if I say what is the iteration depending on the range function for this for loop, and the iteration for this particular for loop is 5, because this loop is going to go for 5 times from 0 to 4. I will be initially 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4, and inside this whatever we have is going to get executed 5 times. Okay, so if I have a statement like this, like I give one more statement and I say something like hello. Okay, so what is going to happen now? My code block has 2 statements, so this is a code block for loop. So whatever happens, like this loop is going to get executed 5 times, so whatever we have inside the for loop will be executed 5 times. So if I run this particular code, I will just save this as test.py, and let me just save this and run the code, and you can see the output that we have is hello 0, hello 1, hello 2, hello 3, and hello 4. And the reason for that is I initially was 0, then it went inside the loop, it printed hello, and then it printed the value of I, that was 0. Again, since the series is not yet over, the controller jumps up, takes the next value, that is 1. Again, it is going to get executed, that is hello, and the value of I that I'm printing, and this time it is 1. Again it goes, prints hello 2, hello 3, and hello 4, and that is where the loop gets over. Once the loop gets over, the controller is going to come to the next line. Since there are no other lines, the program is going to get terminated. So this is how the functioning of the for loop takes place, and this is how the controller works. This is very important. This is going to form a foundation for you for your future programming. So loops and the concept of loops should be very much clear to you. So this is one of the example that we took yesterday, and also we took one program, and the program was the addition of 1 to n numbers. So if I have to add numbers from 1 to 10, so I have to take the range function like 1 comma and then I will say 11 out here because it goes one less. So it will start from 1 and it goes till 10, that is n minus 1. And then what I can do is I will just have a variable sum is equal to 0, and inside that I will say sum plus equal to 1, which means sum is equal to sum plus 1. So sum will get incremented by 1, but I am going to give I because I want to increment sum by I, whatever the value of I is. And then outside the loop, now you need to come outside the loop and then print. Now please understand, this particular print statement is outside the loop, it is not inside the loop. And how do we know that this is outside the loop? Is because of the indentation. You can see this is indented, so this particular statement comes inside this loop. So this is going to get executed maybe 10 times this time, and then this is the outside the loop. So outside the loop I'm going to say the total, let me just give a proper message, or just total is equal to comma and sum. And now if I run this particular program, what is going to happen is it is going to say 55, that is the addition of the number, that is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus till 10. And this is how we have added the numbers. Okay, so this is how you can use the for loop. And please make sure about the indentation, be very careful about the indentation. If you do not give indentation properly, it is going to give you an error. It can really cause a lot of problems. Now what I can do is I can make this user defined as well. I can say something like n is equal to int, and I will give input inside this, and I will say enter a number. So the user is going to enter a number, and depending on that number I want to generate 1 to n addition. So how I can do this? I will simply replace 11 and I will say n plus 1. Now why I did n plus 1? Because the loop should go till n, so I need to have that plus 1. So if I give 5, so this will be 5 plus 1, that is 6 out here. So the loop is going to go for 1 to 5, right? So that is what I want basically. So now if I run this, and you can see that it is asking me a number. Now if I give 5, and now the total is 15. Again if I run this time if I give 10, the total is 55. So this is how we can do it. Now we will do one more program, which is the addition of n numbers, and that is not the addition of 1 to n numbers, it is the addition of n different numbers. So for example, I'll be accepting 5 numbers from the user, 5 different numbers from the user, or depending, I will be accepting n different numbers from the user, and I'm going to add those numbers together. So what will I do? What logic I need to apply? The first thing that I need to do is, okay, I will say the message I will take from the user, and I will say enter how many numbers. Okay, so that's the first input I'm going to take from the user. Enter how many numbers. So I will be asking the user how many numbers he wants to enter, and that I'm going to collect it from in n. Then I'm going to run a loop, and let me just change this to total is equal to 0. This makes more sense, and total over here, and this will be total over here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is this loop is going to be same, that is for I in range 1 comma n plus 1, and then inside this I'm going to accept one more number. So I will say no is equal to int of input, and I will say enter number. Okay, so enter number, and enter the numbers. Okay, let us just do it in a simple way first. So if the user says that I want to enter how many numbers is 5, now we are going to collect those 5 different numbers from the user. And what we need to do is we need to use a loop. 5 times this loop should get executed if n is 5, and I'm going to accept 5 different numbers, okay, from the user. So this will be the first number. So this loop is going to get executed 5 times. For the first time it will collect a number that is in no, and then what will I do? I will simply replace this I to no. That's it. Now what is going to happen over here? This is going to get executed 5 times. So this message is going to get printed 5 times, and it is going to ask me to enter number 5 times, and that number I'm collecting it in no, and that no I will be storing in total. So total initially will be 0, so 0 plus number goes to total. Again I'm going to collect the next number, again goes to no. So no is going to have, the number is going to have, the variable no is going to have always a new number. Okay, so now if I run this, you can see enter how many numbers. I will say 5 numbers, and now it is asking me those 5 numbers. If I say first number is 12, second number 45, third is 67, and you can see that these numbers are getting assigned to no. For the first number was 12, that got assigned to no, and then that no I collected it in total. So total will be like, will keep a track, will keep on adding the numbers basically. So these are the 3 numbers, then I will give 80 and then 90, and now we can see the total is 294, and that is the total of these numbers. So how did I achieve this? With this logic. So inside this loop I accepted 5 different numbers. Every time I assign a number, it gets assigned to no, and that no I keep on adding it, that number, to total, and total initially will be 0. So if the first number was 12, so it was like total is equal to total plus number, so that was 0 plus 12, so total became 12. The next time I gave 45, so 12 plus 45, again it got stored in total. And this is how we are collecting everything in total, and outside the loop we are saying total is equal to total. So I hope, children, that this program is very much clear to you. This is very, very important for you to understand looping. The concept of looping should be very much clear. If you really want to become a programmer, the very basic thing that you need to be very clear with is with the looping. Understand? Until you're not clear with looping, you cannot develop programs. So the concept of looping should be very much clear to you. So I hope you have understood this program. Now what we can do is we can do one more program, and that is factorial of a number. So I will go and take a new file, and let me just save this file with fact.py. And factorial of a number. What is a factorial of a number? For example, if I say 4 factorial, and that is the sign that we denote the factorial. So I will say 4 factorial, that will be equal to 1 into 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. Okay, so that is what we do normally with the factorial. So this is 24, right? And if I say 5 factorial, let us take 5 factorial, and if it is 5 factorial, this will be 1 into 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5, and that will come down to 120, right? So this is what we need to do. Now we can go from 1 to 4 or 4 to 1, will not make any difference, right? I can multiply 1 into 2 into 3 into 4, or 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, even that is okay. So how we are going to achieve this? So 4 factorial is 24, 5 factorial is 120. So let us develop a program for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a variable known as fact. Now fact is just a name of a variable. You can give any name, but As a good programmer, you should give names to the variable, which is well understood. So the naming convention is something that you need to follow. So I will say fact, which denotes factorial, is equal to 1. That's the value I'm going to give. And then inside this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first accept a number from the user. So I will say n and int, because I need that as an integer, and I will say enter a number. So that number will be collected in the variable n, and now I will run a loop, that is for I in range function, and I need to start this from 1 comma and n plus 1, because I want to go from 1 till n. So I need to have this plus 1 so that it goes till n. And then inside this, what I'm going to do is simply I'm going to apply a fact is equal to fact into I. That's it. And then outside I'm going to say fact. So let's give a message. Factorial of the number is, okay, first I will run this program. Let us check whether it is working or not, and then we will see the working of the program. So enter a number. I will give 4, and it says factorial of the number is 24. So it is giving a right answer. If I say 5, and it says 120. If I give 6, okay. If I give 6, it is 720. So this goes on increasing. There is a factorial, huge numbers can come. Okay, so this is the factorial of a number. How did I did this, and what was the logic, and how exactly is it working? So what is happening over here, let me just write the value of fact over here. The value of fact is 1 initially with this particular statement. So this is just, I'm doing a test run for you, just I'm tracing it and I'm just typing this for your understanding. So fact is equal to 1, and then this is n. So let me have n is equal to 5. Okay, so I gave the value 5. So for I in range 1 comma n plus 1, so this is going to go 1 to 5. So what will be the initial value of I? The initial value of I is going to be 1. Okay, the initial value of I is 1. Now I say fact is equal to fact into I. So what is the value of fact? 1. What is the value of I? 1. That product I'm giving it to fact. So again fact is getting the value, that is 1. Fine. Now I will get the next value, that is 2. So I will change to 2, and now I say fact into I. So what is fact this time? It is 1. And what is I? That is 2. So again that product I'm giving it to fact. So fact will become 2. Now the value of I will change to 3. Right? Now what will be the calculation? What is the value of fact? The current value of fact is 2, and the current value of I is 3. So 3 into 2, and that I'm giving it to fact. So fact becomes what? 6. Then I will get incremented, that is 4. And then fact into I. So what is the value of fact? That is 2. What is the current value of I? That is 4. So that will be, so 6 4s are 24, and I just wrote at the wrong place. So that goes into fact, right? Okay, now the value of I will be 5, right? And now I say fact into I. So what is the value of fact? That is 24, and 24 into 5, and if I'm not wrong, that will come down to 120, because the product again gets stored in fact. So that is 120. So you can see that these are the values that are getting changed for fact, and these are the values that are getting changed for I. So I is going from 1 to 5, and then because of this particular calculation, the value of fact is getting changed from 1, then it becomes 1, then it becomes 2, then it becomes 6, then it becomes 24, and then finally it becomes 120 if the value of n is 5. If this would have been 4, so it would have stopped till here, that is 24. So this is how this program is actually working. Okay, so I hope this program is very much clear to you. Now children, please go ahead and practice this, and then tomorrow we are going to take some more programs. Now we are going to implement a lot of programs because that is going to make us perfect in this. If you really want to understand the working of loops, then we have to develop maximum programs. We have to develop programs that is there in the book, and we also have to develop the program that is not there in the book. Okay, so be ready for coming days because we are going to take some real good programs. Maybe few of them will be simple, few of them will be complicated. So that's it for today. Bye for now, we'll meet tomorrow.